Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about whether you should go into the office again or work from home instead. Now that we're in a post-pandemic world, a lot of, especially in tech industry, a lot of the jobs and landscape has been shifting. There's been recent commotion, let's say from Amazon, to have everyone back into the office. Microsoft is in a hybrid work state right now, so you can work from home or you can work in the office. Other companies are like fully remote and working from home. And so as someone for the last 3 years who has done all three of those things, I wanted to jump in and give my pros and cons for, working from home versus working in the office. Just share my thoughts and my experience and what I would recommend. Okay, so for me, once the studio shut down in 2020, I had worked from home for a long time, and I actually really liked it. I felt like I was able to kind of do the things I wanted to do, wake up, get on a call, whatever it might be. It just felt convenient. There was one day, it was last summer, where I got up for work and I was like, you know what? I'm just done working from home. I'm over it. And so I went to the studio and I've not looked back. I've probably been working from the studio like 98% of the time now since then. I think I forgot how much I actually really liked it. And sure, there might be a time a few years down the road where I'm like, I just want to work from home. And maybe that will come and I'll listen to myself then. But for now, there's a few things that I've really remembered that have been really great about working from the office once again. So the first is just overall like social connection. Like I feel myself honestly like a bit happier. I just like see people every day, including my boss and guys on my team. I have friends on different teams I sit near. And it's just nice to like say, hey, good morning, guys. And like, maybe we talk about some stuff and then, hey, have a good weekend, things like that. That like social connection has actually been really nice. And I've definitely missed that, which is weird coming from me because I'm a huge introvert. Maybe it's just enough that, I'm actually enjoying it. So, that social connection, being around people, even like sometimes going out to lunch, whatever it might be, that stuff is actually really powerful. A few days ago, I had a friend who was visiting back from California into Seattle, and we went out and got lunch and just caught up for like an hour or so, and the weather was nice out. We were just sitting out on this like these benches and just having a nice conversation. I was like, damn, I was thinking to myself, like in the moment, I was like, this is really nice, like I actually needed this. So the social connection, it just feels nice. It's healthy. For me, I work so much, like most, if not all of the people I spend time with are around work. Having that back is, I have found to be really nice. The next would be learning from others. There already have been so many times where someone has maybe overheard me in a conversation talking about, hey, I needed this thing, I need that thing. And then someone behind me will be like, hey, I actually worked on this before. I can teach you how to do this, and, et cetera, et cetera. Being able to just like walk over to his desk and look at whatever he's got there and just like learn and understand in an ad hoc moment like that has been really nice. And, sure, you could do this remotely. I'm not saying this is like, a pro that is now a con for the other side. They just happen kind of like sporadically, and I find that I'm learning a lot from these kind of like ad hoc conversations. And even for me, like as a big introvert, I'm very observant, and I've always have been. And so when I'm in meetings, big or small, a lot of times I'm just like listening and watching people and like picking up on their cues and just learning a lot about my coworkers too, and like where their heads at on the things, what makes them anxious, what makes them tick, what makes them excited. Like a lot of these like, body language cues are coming to me now again, where a lot of times working from home, like I feel like most people actually don't have their cameras on. And like me, whenever I'm on a call, 100% of the time I have my camera on for partner calls, for whatever it might be. I am showing myself and being out there, but I feel like at least people I work with, like most are not. And so I'm just like learning a lot about people and different things just by like being able to look at them. Lastly is having like organic, productive conversation. This happened actually a couple weeks ago. It was like literally 6 p.m. I'm walking to go to the bathroom and I run into two guys on a different team, and they're like, holy crap, so glad we saw you. we need your help with whatever XYZ, or we were thinking about this. We were able to just have this like ad hoc conversation in the hallway, fresh as they got off a meeting where something was relevant to me and they wanted to talk to me about it. It was so productive. Like, we have a clear direction now on one thing for the program. You know, that wouldn't have happened that organically or been able to get that level of detail if it was a mail or a Teams meeting or anything like that. We were able to really understand the intent, and they wanted me to like change one thing about the program. I was able to ask like, well, why? Like, you know, what are you trying to solve for? What's the circumstances that you guys are in? And I was able to like really quickly kind of wrap my head around it. It just felt so nice to like have that again. And this is happening with like, you know, my boss too, where we'll be chatting about something on Teams and we'll say, hey, let's grab a room and talk about this. And we're able to just like go do it. And sometimes the conversation spirals into other things and whatever. And there's this kind of like energy that everyone's feeding off of each other with. So yeah, I'm finding those like ad hoc kind of sporadic conversations have been like really productive, and people can come up to my desk and ask me things, and you know, they might walk by me and say, oh, Tashi, I actually wanted to ask you something, and then we get into a conversation that actually ends up being like really important. And again, not that you can't talk to people or, you know, have these things in a remote or hybrid sense, but I've just found these things to be really nice about working from the studio. Now on the flip side, I've also worked from home a bunch. It was about a year and a half, almost 2 years straight of working from home. There are a lot of really nice things about working from home too. The first I would say is environment control. You know, I'm in my own office now. I was able to get a different apartment that had a home office, or really as a second bedroom that I converted into one. And, you know, I'm able to set up this office exactly the way I want. I've got like a whiteboard there. I've got all of my, you know, desk space that I need, whatever it is. I was able to kind of set this up exactly the way I wanted. You know, I could just like control everything the way I wanted. The lighting, I can control how much sunlight comes in. I can open the windows. I can like, there's so much here that I can do. And it allowed me to just like, yeah, work the way I wanted to work, instead of kind of fitting into, you know, maybe a desk at work that I didn't like, or being in a position that I didn't like, or, you know, whatever it might be. So environment control, I would say, is the kind of primary working from home pro that I experienced when I was doing it often. Second, it would be around like nutrition and breaks. Whenever I had like a lunch break, you know, I could just go into my kitchen and make something. That was really nice, because now when I work from the studio, you know, I'm basically subject to whatever the cafeteria has, which right now is limited options, or whatever restaurants are nearby. And a lot of that can be time consuming. So a lot of times I'm just like, yeah, I don't really have time to actually go like eat food. But even if I had like 15 minutes between meetings here, a lot of times this would happen where like I'd have meetings all day. One meeting would end like 15 minutes early. And I'm like, I have 15 minutes to go eat something. If this were to happen while I was at the studio, like I'd be screwed. I would just like work for the next 15 minutes, even if I was hungry, and be like, whatever. But when I was working from home, I could go make probably a tuna fish sandwich or any kind of sandwich within 15 minutes, like really easy. I can make eggs and a bagel. Like, you could get a lot of cooking done in 15 minutes, which was really nice. The breaks are really nice too whenever you've got them. So like right now, you know, if I need a break at the studio, I'll usually go for a walk. Sometimes I'll go in the HGS room. We have a couch and I'll just lay down there and relax for a bit. When I was working from home and I needed a break, I mean, I have my bed over there. It's not too far. I've got my couch. I can put on some TV. Like, it's just a way more comfortable environment to eat and like relax from. That is definitely a huge benefit over working from a studio. Sometimes I would go for a run and like take a shower between breaks. Like, that is a lot more difficult to do at when you're at the studio, 100%. The last one is no commute. And I know there are a lot of people that commute a lot. They're stuck in traffic, literally in their cars like 3+ hours each day, just coming and going. For me, like, I'm lucky. It's like 10-15 minutes to work, and that's intentional. Like, I want the commute to be as short as possible. You know, that is a huge time saver for a lot of people. That's like basically like an hour and a half back of sleep, an hour and a half back, you know, more time with your family. Like, that's so much time saved if you have a really long commute. Honestly, that might be like the biggest and most powerful pro to working from home, especially if you have a long drive in. And I know there are a lot of people at work who were doing that. They were doing the like grueling drive in from different parts of Washington. And then as soon as like the pandemic hit and we now are in this like hybrid environment where you could go into the studio or you could stay home. A lot of people are just choosing to stay home because of the commute, and I don't blame them at all. Like, sure, there might be things that they're missing out on, whatnot, but being stuck in a car for an hour and a half every morning and then an hour and a half back or whatever it is. Like, I had a coworker, she used to like stay at the studio extra late just to avoid the traffic, and it was still like a long drive home. Obviously there are some pros, but I totally understand why some people would want to work from home just to avoid the entire commute. So what's the verdict? I'm gonna give a cop-out answer here and say whatever your lifestyle and preferences are, you should try both. There are benefits to both, there are cons to both, and see what works for you. Give it like a real earnest shot for like a month or more in either situation. I definitely have tried both intensely, and I'm like back all in on working from the studio. So I guess that's my verdict, right? Because I'm choosing myself. So for you, make your choices based on your lifestyle and what makes sense for you. For me, I really enjoy working from the studio again, and I'm definitely going to keep doing it every day until maybe I get tired of it. So let me know in the comments below if you work from home or you work from your office, or if it's hybrid and you got to mix your time. Really interested to see what your work environment is like. But that's going to do it for today's video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one.